guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back and it is October 12th and it is Saturday. And Saturday nights, well, it's all right for fighting. So let's get a little action in. All right. Well, anyway, it is 9:35 p.m. and we are going to just jump right into the Q-related news. Now, there is a ton of news. Probably won't get to it all tonight, but I will do my best. And I do have some people to thank. 4 people. That's right. I said 4 people, but I will do that at the end of the video. All right. Let's get started. Now, I've got so much, and I may skip and jump a bit because some of it is more important than other things, and I do want to get to the most important things, but we'll see, because some of it, some of it's really important that I absolutely have to get to, and most of it is quite important, so it's hard to choose, but let's just start here. No, really, let's. Now, this I found absolutely jaw-dropping. I really did, because there's too much coincidence here. Way too much coincidence for it to be just a coincidence. It's just too big of a coincidence. Because look at this. Hillary's file, and this is by a person called Adam Schitt's Lying Lips, or should I say Shite Lying Lips. Hillary's file storage, ecloud.corn. Can't make that stuff up. I'm sorry, I heard like a dialing phone, like a phone sound, but my phone is turned down. So I'm not sure where that came from, and it could actually just be happening in my mind, which is really quite frightening. Anyway, so, corn ready for to be cut. Yeah, let's just take a look at this. So, says the damn emails, hashtag harvest at Chuck Grassley at Devin Nunes is hashtag corn ready for to be cut, as in number 42, Clinton server, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, ecloud.corn. Is this what we are watching and waiting for? Well, it's interesting. I don't know what to make of it. A hat, a paper stop, a doorstop. I don't know what quite to make of it, but it says visit http www.syrnantecloud.corn. This email has been scanned. ecloud.corn. Message headers, unclassified, U.S. Department of, and that would be, the State Department, I do believe. But it's so interesting that this is, let me move forward here. And this says message from H, mail to HDR22 at clintonemail.corn. Corn, ready for to be cut. Interesting. This was sent Saturday, September 15th, 2012 at clintonemail.corn. Yeah. I don't know quite what to make of it, but I'm telling you something. That corn analogy has been used so much by so many people. And actually, if you look on Senator Grassley's Twitter account, he is talking about corn. Now, I'm not sure if that was out today or yesterday, but he's talking about corn. Now, there's way too much. Random people don't just talk about corn, really. And look at how many people have talked about corn. People that are in the Senate or the Congress, they're talking about corn. Why? Why is his James Comey? Oh my gosh, I must be getting tired tonight. James Comey, he took all these pictures in a cornfield. What was that about? And we knew that he was sending a message to the deep state. So I think it's interesting. And I think we have found now what that is talking about. Corn. Yeah, well, we knew all along they weren't really talking about corn, ears of corn that you eat. We knew it was symbolic of something. Well, now we know. Yeah. Excuse me, I don't want to cough through this. All right, so anyway, that is it for that. And I'm just going to go down here a bit and see if anybody has said anything interesting about this. ecloud.corn. The memes, like some of the memes that, the right puts out, the conservatives, the Republicans, they are hysterical. And it is true that the left doesn't have a clue how to meme. It's true. So anyway, yeah, let's go on now and see what else we can get into here. And let's, well, I'm going to skip that one for now, but let's look at this. I think you'll find this interesting. This from the Western Journal. Soros linked to whistleblower report. Former U.S. attorney finds proof buried in footnotes. Well. Oh, the tangled webs we weave. Hang on. I just had it's like a trail mix bar, but it's way more healthy. It doesn't have, anything bad in it, but it tasted like nuts and foliage. That's what it tasted like. You talk about trail mix. Well, it actually tasted like the trail. No kidding. So now that is what is stuck in my throat. Leaves and twigs and nuts. Okay, former U.S. Attorney Joe DeGeneva and his barrister wife, Victoria Townsend, dropped a bombshell claim in a recent Fox News appearance. Hang on here. Appearing on Fox's Hannity, the pair took on the ubiquitous Trump-Ukraine whistleblower fraud, and that's what it is, a fraud, not a scandal, at least not for the president. DeGeneva's assessment of the situation was direct. The whistleblower needs to go to prison. He doesn't need to be feted. He needs to go to prison, he said. The former U.S. attorney didn't explain exactly why the anonymous informant should be jailed, though it may well have something to do with what Fred Fleitz, the former National Security Council chief of staff and CIA analyst, suggested, that rules restricting access and knowledge of these sensitive calls were breached. And that is evident. Regardless, the call for prison was just a prelude to what was coming. It was at that point that Townsend jumped in saying U.S. and other people made false statements about him. Yeah, that was George Soros funded NGOs who were also in bed with the State Department. They were in bed with each other during that time in the name of anti-corruption, and it really means that Soros goes after his competitors. Well, I think we've always known that. George Soros is no one to be trifled with. That's for sure. Why he has the power that he has, I don't know. But I mean, I know he's got a lot of money, and money often brings power. I guess he just buys his power. But anyway, then she dropped the bomb. The whistleblower sprinkled sprinkles throughout his document footnotes, referring to a publication with the initials OCCRP. One guess, Sean, who funds OOCRP? George Soros. Well, we knew he was connected there some way. I mean, probably most of us, surmised that there had to be a connection there. And there is. Imagine that. Excuse me. One of the organizations funding the OCCRP, an initialism for the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, is the Soros-founded Open Society Foundations. DeGeneva followed up, Soros' dirty money is all over this story from day one, to which Townsend replied, and all over Ukraine, and he still has embedded people at the State Department. Both DeGeneva and Townsend appear to be right. The whistleblower's complaint does reference the OCCRP multiple times in footnotes 4, 9, and 10 on pages 4, 5, and 6, respectively. Footnote 4 states in a report published by the Organized Crime and Corruption Reporting Project on, isn't that an ironic name? Like, seriously. On the 20, it's like the World Wildlife Foundation. They are responsible for killing more wildlife than they've ever saved. That's a very long story, and it would take a very long time to get into, but check it out if you're interested, because it's the truth. Two associates of Mr. Giuliani reportedly traveled to Kyiv on May 2019 and met with Mr. Bakanov and another close Zelensky advisor, Mr. Sheffer. Footnote 9 states, in May, Attorney General Barr announced that he was initiating probes into the origins of the Russia investigation. According to the above-referenced OCCRP report, 22nd of July, two associates of Mr. Giuliani claimed to be working with Ukrainian officials to uncover information that would become part of this inquiry. In an interview with Fox News on the 8th of August, Mr. Giuliani claimed that Mr. John Durham, whom Attorney General Barr designated to lead this probe, was spending a lot of time in Europe because he was investigating Ukraine. I do not know the extent to which, if at all, Mr. Giuliani is directly coordinating his efforts on Ukraine with Attorney General Barr or Mr. Durham. Footnote 10 simply refers to the OCCRP report already mentioned, and an article in Bloomberg. Footnote 10 is attached to a bullet that states it was also publicly reported that Mr. Giuliani had met on at least two occasions with Mr. Lysenko, once in New York in late January and again in Warsaw in mid-February. In addition, it was publicly reported that Mr. Giuliani had spoken in late 2018 to former prosecutor General Shokin in a Skype call arranged by the two associates of Mr. Giuliani. The whistleblower was pulling at least some of his information from the OCCRP reports or using OCCRP reports to support some of his claims. The line linking Soros to an attempt to essentially overthrow the president isn't direct, but neither is it non-existent. It runs from Soros through a fountain he created, an organization it funds to a set of footnotes buried in a document receiving massive media attention and implying wrongdoing on the part of a sitting president. The line connecting it all is serpentine, but it is a line nonetheless. At this point, no other Soros links have surfaced. Perhaps they will, perhaps they won't. The surprising, or alarming, depending on your point of view, connection should concern every American, not just because of the direct implications for the Ukraine fraud. Every American should consider just how incestuous the swamp, both in the U.S. and internationally, has become. That is true. Excuse me. It seems that everybody's connected to somebody. These, you got a list of bad players, and they're all interconnected. All of them. They're all up in each other's business and money laundering and dirty deals and everything else. Say the connection means nothing. Even then, shouldn't we worry if a phony international scandal accidentally ties back to a U.S. political wheeler and dealer, even if he wasn't involved? That shows a level of interconnectedness. Some would say incestuousness among powerful people and institutions that simply cannot be healthy for democratic civil societies. This begins to look like plutocracy, rule by the wealthy instead of Republican democracy. Yeah, absolutely, we're ruled by the wealthy. And in perhaps the greatest irony of the last 4 years, the ultra-wealthy Donald Trump is the one trying to bring down Soros and the rest of the elites, burgeoning plutocracy, and those elites haven't the foggiest idea of how to stop him. And I think it needed to be Donald Trump, because I think he understands the ins and outs of what he's involved in. I just don't think that he was ever involved in the seedier side, but he understands how it all works. Excuse me, I really apologize for my coughing. I really do. I don't want to stop recording because I want to get this out tonight because I didn't record last night, but hopefully it will calm down. All right, so let's go back and let's look at, we've seen this, and I'm going to skip this, but I'm going to leave it in there because I have mentioned this before, but I want you to know that I am placing every show that I do, whether on this channel or the other channel, I will post the show notes to Patreon. So you'll be able to find them there and download them if you so desire. Oh my gosh. All right. So the next thing we're going to go to is this. Pray for my throat, guys, because I really want to get through this. Warren stands by account of once being fired for pregnancy. So this account has been challenged and shown to be a fabrication, a lie. But she's still standing by her account. Well, her lies seem to have worked for her. I mean, she stood by her lie of being a Cherokee for how long? A long time, until she was wanting to show Donald Trump a thing or two, and she took a DNA test, the stupidest thing she ever did. And of course, it showed that she was probably the whitest woman in America, at least one of the whitest women in America. Elizabeth Warren is standing by her account of being fired for a teaching job nearly 50 years ago because she was pregnant, an anecdote that she routinely recounts at campaign events, but one that some conservatives charge has been embellished to make the narrative more compelling for her presidential run. Well, what's new there? In a campaign speech, she repeats at town halls while crisscrossing the country. The Massachusetts senator tells of graduating from the University of Houston and being hired by the Riverdale Board of Education in New Jersey as a speech pathologist during the 1970 to 71 school year. She says she planned to continue teaching but got pregnant, and once she began showing, the principal did what principals do, wished me luck, showed me the door, and hired someone else for the job. Warren has used nearly identical retellings of the story dozens of times, including at rallies in Nevada and California last week, and wrote similarly of the experience in her 2014 memoir. She enjoyed a steady rise in recent polls to emerge as one of the Democratic presidential primaries frontrunners, along with former Vice President Joe Biden. Well, I think he's toast now. His goose is cooked. I would hope, unless there's still people that are dumb enough to support him. I would hope not, but you never know. So, on Monday, though, Fox News reported on a video of a 2007 interview Warren gave at the University of California at Berkeley, where she offered a different account of leaving teaching, suggesting it was by choice. I worked with the children with disabilities. I did that for a year, and then that summer I actually didn't have the education courses, so I was on an emergency certificate, she says. In it, I went back to graduate school and took a couple courses in education, and I said, I don't think this is going to work out for me. I was pregnant with my first baby, so I had a baby and stayed home for a couple years, and I was really casting about thinking, what am I going to do? The discrepancy is important since the story is one of the core pieces of Warren's campaign message, how she was raised poor in Oklahoma and never intended to go to law school, to become a professor at Harvard and eventually run for the Senate and the presidency, and how she may never have done any of that had she been allowed to remain a teacher. So this is at the core of her campaign. And yet, according to a 2007 interview, it's not true. Because she had to go back. She was on an emergency certificate. She had to go back to graduate school to pick up a couple courses before she could go back teaching. She was pregnant at the time. she had her baby, she decided to stay home and was just kind of, lolling about, looking after her newborn. Not that you loll about with a newborn. I don't want to insult anyone because I know that's not the case. But she was with her newborn and wondering, what am I going to do? This is fundamentally different than what she's going around the country saying, is that the principal kind of, when she started to show, said, well, see you later. And she wasn't allowed to teach anymore. Totally different stories. Now, why would that be? I don't know. Is she trying to hide something? Is she lying? I think she's lying, personally. Warren critics have seized on the issue, noting that, like with the outcry Warren faced for taking a DNA test last year to prove her past claims of Native American heritage, shows she's willing to exaggerate her personal story and isn't the candidate she claims to be. Senator Warren is flirting with frontrunner status in the Democratic primary, and with frontrunner status comes a higher level of scrutiny, said Michael Steele, who was an advisor to former Republican House Speaker John Boehner. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, actually. Bonner? Anyway. And if any of you know how to pronounce it, could you put it in the comments? Because, like I said, I don't watch TV. I get all of my news from the news and the alternate media and so forth. So I never get to hear these names pronounced. So I probably make a fool of myself because I probably pronounce them all wrong. But hey, I'm willing to make a fool of myself for you guys, just because, well, you're all that and a bag of Doritos. No, I don't like Doritos. Sun chips. You're all that and a bag of Sun chips. They're good. All right. So, Michael Steele, who is, okay, to this John guy, and to Jeb Bush, we all know who that is, 2016 presidential campaign, he never stood a chance. Never stood a chance. Anyway, she cannot afford the appearance that she is deceitful or inauthentic, and this could feed those narratives. Well, I don't think that's the only thing feeding the narratives. Really, I don't. In an interview Monday with CBS, Warren called being fired for being visibly pregnant an accurate description of what occurred. She added that being elected to the Senate in 2012 caused her to open up more about her past, revealing new details. On Tuesday, she offered further affirmation, tweeting, "When I was 22 and finishing my first year of teaching, I had an experience millions of women will recognize. By June, I was visibly pregnant, and the principal told me the job I'd already been promised for the next year would go to somebody else." She added via tweet, "This was 1971, years before Congress outlawed pregnancy discrimination, but we know it still happens in subtle and not so subtle ways." Well, she's right about that. And it was the deal many, many years ago. Women that got pregnant and they were working in a job, they were basically let go or shown the door, or if they were on an hourly wage, they were given less hours and cut to part-time, and then, they would basically force them to leave. So that is absolutely true that there was pregnancy discrimination back in those days. I just don't believe it happened to her, because why would she tell a completely different story in 1971? Why would she? I mean, it would have been fresh in her mind then. You would think that she would tell it like it was. Anyway, I just think that that's quite fascinating, because it's the little things. It's the little things. If you're dishonest in little things, you're dishonest in big things. Not that that's such a little thing. I mean, calling yourself a Native American when you're not, that's a big thing. That is a big thing. And it's insulting to the Native Americans. Anyway, this is not so big, but yet it is. And it's things like this that if you have a friend and you catch them in a couple lies, do you trust them after that? Because I don't. If I catch a friend in a lie, and I have in the past caught friends in a lie, and I knew that they were lying, but they would declare uphill and down, no, that's not what I said. But do you trust that person after that? Because I don't. Because if you're dishonest in the little things, you'll be dishonest in the big things. That is just the way it works. All right, now let's go back and let's get into this. Let's go to Joe Biden. Boy, that's lots of fun, isn't it? All right, and this is behind a paywall, but I think we can read it because I've got one more free article left, I think. Yeah, wow. Anyway, Bloomberg, politics. Biden camp warns rival off attacks on his family in Ohio debate. Democratic rivals have walked tightrope in impeachment inquiry. Some see a chance to wound Biden and Trump simultaneously. Anyway, Joe Biden has a warning for his Democratic rivals as they prepare for the fourth televised debate next week. Stay away from the issue of Ukraine and Hunter Biden. Can you imagine the nerve of him? There's a massive scandal, and he's saying to people, you better not mention that. Could you imagine if that was Trump and he was involved in some scandal? Well, some say he is, but I don't believe any of it is true. But if he really was involved in some real scandal and he was telling people, you better not write about this, you better not say anything about this, how would that go over? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I know how it would go over. The 12 candidates participating in Tuesday's debate in Westerville, Ohio, are honing their answers to questions about the U.S. House impeachment inquiry into President Donald Trump, which centers on the president's request to the leader of Ukraine to investigate unfounded allegations about Biden and his son's work there. Oh, right. Unfounded allegations. Really? Well, we know what side of the fence they're on, don't we? So anyway, but the frontrunner's campaign suggests they shouldn't stray into shots about the Biden family. An aide to Biden said that any candidate who calls himself a Democrat and repeats what the aide said were discredited lies about Biden and his son would be making a profound statement about themselves. Yeah, it would be making a profound statement about themselves. It would prove that they're honest. As Trump has escalated his attacks against Joe and Hunter Biden, Biden's Democratic rivals have been walking a tightrope. All of them are campaigning against Trump, and most have called for his impeachment. Yet, getting the chance to challenge the incumbent president requires first winning the nomination. So many of the candidates have criticized Biden for allowing Hunter Biden to serve on the board of Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian gas company, which his father was, while his father was vice president, saying any appearance of a conflict of interest is problematic. Well, obviously, to say the least. And that clearly was a, conflict of interest. And, all these people saying, oh, it's unfounded. These are just unfounded allegations. No, they're not. They're proven. Biden has thoroughly disputed any allegations, and no evidence suggests that there was any impropriety when he worked in concert with other Obama administration officials and European allies to recommend that Ukraine's national prosecutor, Viktor Shokin, be fired. Okay, well, this is obviously fake news, isn't it? From where they're coming from. Yeah, there's no evidence. There's a mountain of evidence. Open your freaking eyes. They don't want to. They want to just report what, their overlords tell them to report. That's what they're going to report. Whether it's true or not, they don't care. They get a paycheck. That's all they care about. Anyway, on Biden's and Ukraine, wild claims with little bases. Aides to some of the other candidates in the debate say they do not expect their candidates to shy away from repeating their public criticisms. Senator Kamala Harris of California, who sparred with Biden in the first debate over his past positions on busing, said she would probably not let a child of her vice president sit on the board of a foreign energy company. Well, no. Senator Cory Booker of New Jersey told CNN last month, I just don't think children of vice presidents during the administration should be out there doing that. After a labor forum in Los Angeles last week, former Representative Beto O'Rourke said, I would not allow a family member, anyone in my cabinet, to have a family family member to work in a position like that. Sure. Well, it all changes when they get in power, right? They're all going to say that. But they do the same thing. They're all about enriching themselves. However, one spokesman for a Democratic debate participant said Democrats have learned from 2016 to tread carefully around using Trump's attack on other Democrats because that could sow division. The aide said attacking Biden on the Ukraine issue could result in benefiting Trump in 2020, whoever becomes the nominee. There will be plenty of other opportunities in this debate to draw policy difference with Joe Biden, said Adam Green, the co-founder of Progressive Change Campaign Committee and a supporter of Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. When it comes to the issue of Ukraine, I'd expect 100% of the attention to be on the impeachment and holding Trump accountable for his corruption. Yeah, what corruption is that? You know, can you tell me one thing? Just one. Just one. No, none of them can. When you hold them accountable and people start saying things like that and you said, well, could you give me an example of his corruption? They can't come up with anything. It's so crazy. Still, campaigns are getting ready with debate moderators eager to pinpoint differences among the candidates. At the same time, the candidates who have most aggressively attacked Biden in past debates have been the ones to leave wounded. In the first debate in July, Harris briefly surged in the polls after eviscerating him for fondly recalling his ability to work with segregationists when he was in the Senate. In August, she and Booker and Julian Castro tried the same tactic and it backfired. Castro made another attempt in September debate with an aggressive jab at Biden's age and memory and only succeeded in drawing criticism from some prominent Democrats. Bernie Sanders, a Vermont senator, upbraided Biden early and pointedly on his votes for the North American Free Trade Agreement and the Iraq War, but he too failed to gain from it, and surveys have shown him being stuck in the mid-teens since May. The failed attempt to take down a popular rival have made Democratic campaign operatives wary of going negative. Their voters don't want to see the party bloodied before it faces Trump in the general election. The only Democrat who has consistently gained support since the beginning of summer is Warren, who has actively avoided combat with her rivals. For Biden, the debate will also be a test of his new strategy of aggressive counterattacks. Biden, with the last top-tier Democratic presidential candidate to call for Trump's impeachment, and it wasn't until Wednesday when he unloaded on the president with a blistering speech in New Hampshire, which probably nobody attended. The speech marked a significant shift in how he responds to Trump's accusations, but his ability to defend himself while also going on the offensive will surely be tested on Tuesday. I'm not going to let him get away with it, Biden said about Trump on Wednesday. He picked a fight with the wrong guy. No, I don't think so. No. Yeah, Biden said he could beat Trump like a drum. Oh, I'd pay to have tickets to that event. Really? Why? Not because I fear for Trump. No, I fear for Biden. You know what? For Trump, it's like having a battle of the wits with an unarmed man. That's what it's like. Him and Biden, no match. No match at all. Really, a battle of the wits with an unarmed man. So, let's go back and see what else. All right. Now, I think you're going to find this interesting as well. If you don't, check your pulse. All right. Now, this says Nancy Pelosi helped the Muslim Brotherhood infiltrate sensitive government positions. Now, this was released on October 6th. I'm just seeing it now. Why? I don't know. I'm behind with this one. But I don't see anybody else talking about it. So why is that? Why isn't everybody talking about that? About this? They should be. we decided to look deeper into Nancy Pelosi's political career and have uncovered a few things that the mainstream media fails to acknowledge. Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic Party have helped the Muslim Brotherhood infiltrate critical government positions. The individuals in question are Congressman Andre Carson, Ilhan Omar, and Rashida Tlaib. In 2004, the FBI discovered internal Muslim Brotherhood documents outlining plans to destroy the United States from within. Well, they're well on their way. And if Donald Trump had not gotten in, they would have been way further ahead in their plans. I thank God for Trump. I really do. I thank God for him because I know where the country would be had he not gotten in. So it has long been suspected that former President Obama was also working closely with the Muslim Brotherhood and propping up radical Islamic terrorist organizations. Nevertheless, Pelosi helped pave the way for Andre Carson to become the first Muslim congressman. Since Carson took office, Ilhan Omar and Tlaib have gained popularity among Democratic supporters. We'll get to that later. So what is the Muslim Brotherhood and what are their goals? The Society of the Muslim Brothers, better known as the Muslim Brotherhood, is a transnational Sunni Islamic organization founded in Egypt by Islamic scholar and school teacher Hassan al-Banna in 1928. The following excerpt from a 2010 Breitbart report explains the internal Muslim Brotherhood documents discovered by the FBI. The Muslim Brotherhood's strategic plan for North America was a closely held secret until the FBI discovered it during a 2004 raid of a house in Annandale, Virginia. Agents discovered a secret basement containing internal, I'm not sure how to pronounce this, Equan documents, including the strategic plan titled an explanatory memorandum on the general strategic goal for the group. The strategic plan was written by a member of the board of directors for the Muslim Brotherhood in North America and senior Hamas leader named Mohammed Akram, was approved by the Brotherhood's Shura Council and Organizational Conference in 1987. The plan establishes the mission of the Muslim Brotherhood in North America in the following passage. The process, I don't know why that keeps alerting me to the fact that content is locked, but because we seem to be reading it just fine. The process of settlement is civilization, jihadist process with all the word means. The Ikhwan must understand that their work in America is a kind of grand jihad in eliminating and destroying the Western civilization from within and sabotaging its miserable house by their hands of the believer, so that it is estimated and God's religion is made victorious over other religions. In other words, the Ikhwan's strategy for destroying the United States is to get us, specifically our leadership, to do the bidding of the Muslim Brotherhood for them. The Muslim Brotherhood intends to conduct civilization jihad by co-opting our leadership into believing a counterfactual understanding of Islam and the nature of the Muslim Brotherhood, thereby coercing these leaders to enforce the Muslim Brotherhood narrative on their subordinates. At the ground level, this means that when police officers, federal agents, military personnel, or any other Americans who have sworn an oath to protect and defend the Constitution challenge their leadership with facts, the latter is faced with a hard choice: admit a lack of understanding of the threat and that he or she has been duped, or the leader must suppress the facts and his subordinates in the interest of protecting his or her professional reputation. Extensive anecdotal evidence obtained from law enforcement professionals, federal agents, and military service members suggest that there is considerable suppression of the facts about Sharia and efforts by the Muslim Brotherhood and its allies to bring it to America. Of course, that's what they're, if you ever listen to, and she's a very good one because she was Islamic, and it's Brigitte Gabriel. You can find her stuff on YouTube if you search it out. She is a very good speaker, very dynamic speaker, very well spoken, very well studied. She knows what she's talking about. So she'd be a good one to listen to on this. Not this specific topic about Nancy Pelosi's ties, but in general. So the behavior frequently impedes ongoing investigations and countervailing efforts. For instance, police officers in a number of communities around the country have been pushed out of their joint terrorism task force or counterterrorism positions by their chiefs or deputy chiefs for factually articulating that certain MB operatives working with their police leadership are, in fact, hostile to the United States and the police department in question. A similar phenomenon was also evidenced within the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, and other federal as well as state and local entities. That is what is meant by sabotaging Western civilization by their hands. So we know, among other things, that Albarracin trove of MB documents that the goal of destroying Western civilization from within is to be achieved by the Brotherhood in accordance with a phased plan. The plan is a stepped process modeled directly after Said milestones, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and the Sharia doctrine of progressive revelation. One such document is an updated paper entitled Phases of the World Underground Movement Plan. It specifies the 5 phases of the Muslim Brotherhood movement in North America. They are described together with comments about Ikhwan's progress in realizing each goal as follows. Phase 1. Phase of the discreet and secret establishment of leadership. So that was the first goal, is to get their plants into leadership roles. And they're succeeding quite nicely at that. Phase 2. Phase of gradual appearance on the public scene and exercising and utilizing various public activities. It greatly succeeded in implementing this stage. It also succeeded in achieving many of its important goals, such as infiltrating various sectors of government, gaining religious institutions, and embracing senior scholars, gaining public support and sympathy, establishing a shadow government, secret, within the government. Phase 3, escalation phase, prior to conflict and confrontation with the rulers through utilizing mass media, and that is currently in process, or progress rather. Phase 4, 1, public confrontation with the government through exercising political pressure approach. It is aggressively implementing the above mentioned approach, training on the use of weapons domestically and overseas in anticipation of 0 hour. It says ISAS, something, noticeable activities in this regard. Whatever, I'm not sure what they're trying to say there. Phase 5, seizing power to establish their Islamic nation under which all parties and Islamic groups are united. This document offers a chilling operation insight into the mindset, planning, and vision of the Islamic movement in North America, and it is progressing rapidly. I am seeing, well, this is a very, very conservative community I've lived in, and there's always been a number of churches here because it was a rural agricultural community. People went to church, whatever. Now, one of the biggest churches in town is now Islamic, and it's so strange to drive by this church that was always a landmark and it be Muslim. Now, it's just odd because this is just not an area that, why would people be attracted here? And yet it's everywhere. We've got, actually in the next town over to us, there is a huge presence, and it's rapidly progressing, and they're making more and more demands. They want Sharia law. They don't want to be held accountable to the laws of the land at all. Anyway, so The El Barase archives and close observation of the Brotherhood's operations reveal the following as the most important of the techniques employed by the Ikhwan in America to achieve the seditious goals of its civilization jihad, expanding the Muslim presence by birth rate, immigration, and refusal to assimilate. Now, of course, we see that. I don't know, very few Muslims I know assimilate. Now, I happen to know one that is a pharmacist in town, and I mean, he is a wonderful asset to the community, very involved, very giving, very caring, and, you know, really goes against what you see in the news. So I know that they're not all, you can't paint them all with the same brush, just like you can't paint all Christians with the same brush. But yeah, they, for the most part, they refuse to assimilate, and they are taking over by procreation. Because in Canada, I don't even think the birth rate is two. I think it's like one child, or maybe not even a full child. I mean, when you spread it out over the population, because a lot of people just didn't have children. I know a ton of people that are my age that have never had children. And so, but the newcomers to Canada are having huge families. They have huge families. And so, you know, it doesn't take much of a leap to think that, okay, we're being outbred rapidly, very rapidly. And at this rate, we'll disappear. You know, really, once this generation dies off, I think, you know, both Canada and the US will be brown. That will be, white will be the minority. And that is just the way it is. So, so occupying and expanding domination of physical spaces, and they do that, ensuring the Muslim community knows and follows Muslim Brotherhood doctrine, controlling the language we use in describing the enemy, ensuring we do not study their doctrine, Sharia, co-opting key leadership, forcing compliance with Sharia at local levels, fighting all counterterrorism efforts, subverting religious organizations, employing lawfare, the offensive use of lawsuits and threats of lawsuits, claiming victimization, demanding accommodations, condemning slander against Islam, subverting the U.S. education system, in particular, infiltrating and dominating U.S. Middle East studies programs. Demanding the right to practice Sharia in segregated Muslim enclaves, demanding recognition of Sharia in non-Muslim spheres, confronting and denouncing Western society laws and traditions, and demanding that Sharia replace Western law. Note that many of the foregoing techniques entail, in one way or another, influencing and neutralizing the American government at all levels. A report from Politico highlights Pelosi naming the first Muslim lawmaker to House Intelligence Committee. Now, let's get this out of the way. Having Muslim politicians or politicians of any faith is not inherently bad. However, when those politicians are linked to radical groups with plans to destroy Western civilization, then that poses a major problem and should be discussed. With that in mind, Congressman Andre Carson was first supported by Pelosi in 2015. Carson has Muslim Brotherhood connections that directly interfere with the job he was given. Nancy Pelosi to name first Muslim lawmaker to House Intelligence Committee by Lauren French, Politico, January 13th, 2015, Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi announced in a closed-door meeting Tuesday she would name the first Muslim lawmaker to the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. A senior Democratic aide said Representative Andre Carson of Indiana would be named in the coming days to the key national security-focused panel. Pelosi told lawmakers of the appointment during the members' weekly caucus meeting. Now, imagine somebody with beliefs and strong ties to the Muslim Brotherhood being appointed to the national security focused panel. Now, talk about a conflict of interest, because the Muslim Brotherhood, their whole goal is to subvert the Western society. They want to take over. They're not going to assimilate. They're not going to fit in any way, shape, or form. They want dominance in all aspects. All. And they are slowly taking over by means of reproduction. And by the way, that is the whole, theory behind them. They believe that they are to rape the infidels. So if you are not Muslim, you are the infidel, and they are told to rape you. Now, I'm talking about the men raping the women. Hopefully, I'm not even going to go there, but I was going to say hopefully they're women, but then no, I don't hope they're women. I don't want them to be anybody. I don't, but that's what they do. And part of that is they want to get, whatever country they go to, they want to get the women pregnant with their seed. That is how they take over. So anyway, so interesting that Pelosi, she probably knows all this, but she's doing the bidding anyway. So why is she trying to sneak in these, and not really sneak them in, but why is she supporting and helping these people get positions when she knows what their ultimate goal is? But then that must be her ultimate goal as well, or she wouldn't do the things she's done at all. And just look at her district in California, and you'll see, she can't care about America. She can't care about her neighbors. She can't care about her back door and her constituents at all. Or it wouldn't look like that. Like, what does she do, really? And to me, if I was one of her constituents, I would be asking that question. What is it that you do, Nancy? Really? What is it that you do? Because we paid your salary, but please tell us what you've done. Like, you've been in, she is a career politician. What has she done? Nothing. That is a zero, not a hatred sign or a, what else did you call it? Like a satanic 666 or anything like that. It's bad that you have to even explain it these days, because the okay sign, now they're saying that if you use that, then you're it's white nationalism or something. It's racist of some sort. I don't understand their thinking, so I don't even get into it. It's like, okay, well, whatever. All right, so let's, there's just a little bit more here. It says, Carson would be the first Muslim to serve on the committee and was the second Muslim to be elected to Congress. He already serves on the Armed Services Committee and worked for the Department of Homeland Security's Fusion Center, the clearinghouse established by the federal government to streamline data sharing between the CIA, FBI, Department of Justice, and the military. The Intelligence Committee will most likely tackle a series of high-profile international crises during the 114th Congress, including the threat of Islamic militants and Ukraine. As of 2019, Congressman Andre Carson was named the chairman of the Subcommittee on Counterterrorism, Counterintelligence, and Counterproliferation on the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence. He also sits on the Strategic Technologies and Advanced Research Subcommittee. A brief background of Carson shows disturbing evidence to support his link to the Muslim Brotherhood. Looking at Congressman Carson's speech on May 26, 2012, at the 37th Annual Convention of the Islamic Circle of North American Muslim American Society in Hartford, Connecticut, highlights his allegiance to Islam and not America. We're not going to listen to that. During his remarks, Carson claimed that U.S. schools should be modeled after madrasas, Islamic schools, infamous for their tendency to promote sexist, anti-Semitic teachings, said Carson, America will never tap into educational innovation and ingenuity without looking at the model that we have in our madrasas, in our schools, where innovation is encouraged, where the foundation is the Quran, and the model which we are pushing in some of the schools meets the multiple needs of students. America must understand that she needs Muslims. Notable quotes from Carson's speech: spoken out against Islamophobia, spoken out against those who wish to do our religion harm. The Muslim family is under attack. Allah will not allow you to stop us. We must groom the leaders of tomorrow. Important to realize, ICNA has been linked to an anti-American terrorist movement. Discover Networks reported the Islamic Circle of North America was founded in September 1968 as the American affiliate of Jamaat-e-Islami, South Asia's largest Islamic group. Jamaat's militant wing, Hizbul Mujahideen, aka Hizbul Mujahideen, owned the Pakistani compound where Osama bin Laden was living at the time of his death. Additionally, ICNA has established a reputation for bringing anti-American radicals to speak at its national conference events that draw between 10,000 and 12,000 attendees on average. Moreover, experts have long documented the organization's ties to Islamic terrorist groups. Now, I'm going to, skip down here because this is very, very long. And it says, we are currently unable to verify if Ilhan Omar and Tlaib have connections to the Muslim Brotherhood. However, it is very likely that all three of them are in cahoots with one another. Also, if you review the list of how the Muslim Brotherhood plans to implement Sharia, all three of those individuals are following the handbook perfectly. Also, there is no doubt that Nancy Pelosi helped pave the way for radical Islamic acceptance within the government and the public. So, if you want to read more and would like to look at this yourself or pass it along, it will be in the show notes from today, and they will be posted to Patreon. All right. Okay, let's go back. I think we are out of time. Let me just hit on this so that we'll be finished with this section. And I think I'm going to come back and do another video, but I'm trying to think about whether I should post it here or post it to the other channel to give that a boost. I do want to get that going so that if anything happens here, I'll still be able to reach you guys. And I'm probably going to be setting up uploading stuff to, there's another site. Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of it, but it's a site that many people post to, and I'm probably going to be mirroring the stuff that I do here on some other sites as well, just in case anything happens, because, well, So let's just look at this, and then we will make it a night. All right, it says petition to impeach Nancy Pelosi for treason goes viral. White House petition calling for Democratic House Speaker's impeachment gathers momentum, and that's good. A White House petition calling for Nancy Pelosi to be impeached for crimes of treason has gone viral, gathering tens of thousands of signatures in just a few days. At the time of press, the petition entitled Impeach Nancy Pelosi for Crimes of Treason is only just over 20,000 signatures short of the 100,000 required for the official response from the White House. The campaign was launched on January 18th by MG via the official We the People government website and appears to have quickly gained momentum in the last couple days. Is this old or what? That was January 2019. So you know what? Yeah, this is old. I apologize. No, really, I do. But at least I caught it. So I'll leave it in the show notes just in case you want to look at it, but let's not give that, because obviously she's not impeached. She should be. Big time. All right, let's take a look at just a couple things here. It says, Ronna McDaniel says, to recap, the whistleblower is a Democrat, worked with Biden, worked with 2 of Schiff's staffers, coordinated his complaint with Schiff's team, hired a Hillary/Schumer lawyer who also donated to Biden. How could this be any more partisan than it already is? Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Talk about partisan. And this from the Trump Soldier. President Trump announces phase 1 of China deal. China to dramatically increase purchases of U.S. agriculture from $16 billion to $40 to $50 billion per year, a whopping increase of 250 to 300%. I don't know what everybody's so upset about with this president, really. He's the first one in how long that is actually working for the American people. It's crazy. Now, here is the last thing that we're going to look at before I call it a night. And I think right now I'm thinking that I will upload a second video, but I'm going to upload it to the other channel. I will leave a link pinned to the other channel. If you haven't already, please like, share, and subscribe. Also, on this channel, if you want to be subscribed, please make sure that you are still subscribed. It's the games that people play, so they drop some of my subscribers to keep it down. So if you want to be subscribed, please make sure you're still subscribed. Hit the bell notification and share the video because it helps get it out there. It's not in suggested videos because the channel's been demonetized. So anyway, let's look at this, and then I will thank those people that I need to thank, and we'll call it a night for this video anyway. Now this from Gary. Breaking: Trump breaks another stadium record in Minnesota. 20,000 inside and 25,000 outside. Why would you ever believe another poll again? Trump's support is huge. No, actually, it's huge. 100,000 people requested tickets in Minnesota. Landslide Trump victory 2020. Well, I believe that as well. 100,000 people requested tickets. Do you think 100,000 people would request tickets to see Hillary? I think we know the answer to that, don't we? I don't even know if 100 people would. I'm just saying. Okay, I'm gonna thank the people that I need to thank. And I do depend on you guys, and I thank you so much for the help you give. It makes this possible. So thank you. This is a new Patreon supporter, Mama Sherry, or is it Mama Cherie? Not sure, but I know who it is. She's been a long time listener. And thank you, coffee donors. Thank you, Rach. And I'm just responding to her her note. Yes, there is always something that the kitty babes need. Well, they don't need, but Mama wants them to have it anyway. So yeah, you're right on. And Diane Haney, she calls herself a Utah dog collector. Well, you know what? We love dog people too. Like, yes, I'm a cat person, but it's probably because I lived in apartments a lot and I moved around. So cats just seemed to fit into my lifestyle a little bit better. And I definitely love cats, but I love dogs. I love all animals. Really, I do. Well, except for snakes and spiders, but they're not really animals. It's a reptile, and I don't know what spider fits into, to tell you the truth. It starts with an A though. Anyway, and Sherry Wilson, and she said that she shares her coffee with me in the morning because she watches this and has her coffee. And I said, hey, and I love our morning coffee together. So anyway, thank you, coffee donors. And of course, today is Saturday. There's no mail in Canada on Saturday. So anyway, thank you guys so much for listening. I appreciate it. And I will be, hopefully, there's probably a 95% chance I'm going to be posting something over at the other channel. So there you go. and I'll talk to you guys later. It's actually going to be a follow-up on the fires. There's a lot going on there that does not make sense at all. So that's it. Good night, stay safe, and keep seeking truth. I'll see you real soon.